Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time, Tuesday night edition. Hope everybody is having a great evening so far. Lovely to have you in for another episode of the Prime Time Show. Lamar Jackson got franchise tagged today, right before the deadline to do so for NFL teams. The non-exclusive franchise tag, which opens up the bidding, essentially, for teams to make a God-tier offer for Lamar Jackson and for the Ravens to kind of sit back and wait and potentially have to match it if they want to keep the 25-year-old former MVP's services on their team. We're going to talk about the domino effect of Lamar on the Titans and whether the Titans would realistically be in play. We'll discuss the amount of teams that have already said, either publicly or privately, that they are out on Lamar Jackson in ways that have been, frankly, shocking to me. We will do a Gone Viral video because that's what we do on Tuesday nights. And then we'll wrap up the week of primetime shows because I'm getting ready to go on vacation. And this is a substantive topic for us to dive into before we kind of don't see each other for a little while, which is okay. Before we get started, need you guys to share this show on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Retweet the show. Bottom right-hand corner of your screen is how you do so. Facebook Live, like William Raymer or Rick Bates. You can share now to public. That's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. If you're on YouTube, like William Jones or James Strickland, like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you've done both of those things, tell a friend to do the same. We would be grateful for you doing so, and we can invite more of your friends to come hang out with us as we talk about Lamar and what impact he has on the Titans quarterback situation. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Superbook Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising, if you're new to the show, and I'm proud as always to be presented to you by TrueMath Fitness. Go get your workout on. Go achieve your fitness goals. Your first workout is free with the best way to work out. TrueMathFitness.com is where you sign up for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. Superbook Sports, download the app today. Be ready for football season. Bet on the XFL, college basketball, the NBA, the NHL, all in full swing. Superbook Sports is your place to wager no matter what season it is. And the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. GaryAshton.com, your dream address without the stress. The intel edge you need to succeed can be found with the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators, GaryAshton.com. So, Derek says, are we going to dive into these conflicting Derek reports for a sec? I mean, I don't really think I need to. I did it for 3 hours on the radio show today. To be honest, it's not that compelling to bring it back for a second night. If you are interested, the podcast, the radio show is up. We dissected it in the most journalistically savvy way possible, as there is a source off relating to Derrick Henry. Beyond that, I don't think it's interesting enough to do back-to-back primetime shows on it. And I think Lamar is a far bigger deal at this point because it's actually happening, whereas Derrick is just, talk. So with everything that's going on in the NFL right now, Lamar Jackson is obviously one of the quarterback dominoes. And with Lamar's situation coming to a bit of a head today, you have the Baltimore Ravens placing the non-exclusive franchise tag on their quarterback. It takes the potential top free agent off the market. Derek Carr, who's just recently signed with the Saints, would have been the second one. And then Daniel Jones, had he hit free agency, they got a deal done today with Daniel Jones, a long-term extension. But Lamar is now not able to hit free agency in ways that he might have had they let him roll past the deadline. So Baltimore right now and Lamar, who doesn't have an agent representing himself, have been unable to reach a long-term deal. You know the details on this largely. He's been eligible for a contract extension for over 2 years. So they've been bickering back and forth, trying to figure out this Lamar deal for 2 years, and ultimately they land on the non-exclusive tag. So Lamar Jackson wants the fully guaranteed contract because once Deshaun Watson got one, that absolutely should be what Lamar Jackson is asking for. It should be what Joe Burrow asks for. It should have been what Daniel Jones asks for, but Lamar does have significantly more leverage than the other player who signed a quarterback contract today. So the non-exclusive tag, which will put Lamar on the books for $32 million this season, is certainly less expensive than the exclusive one, which would have been 45, and still and does allow the Ravens to control his rights to an extent. Teams can put together an offer for Lamar. The Ravens have the option. They have the first right of refusal. They can match it. And if they don't match it, the team who has put together the offer for Lamar will get Lamar Jackson, and the Ravens will get 2 first-round picks in exchange for Lamar Jackson at that point. It is feasible to imagine. It's feasible to imagine that Lamar Jackson would garner more than 2 first-round picks had they exclusively tagged him and kind of held him hostage at this point. But right now, they're daring teams to say, okay, he wants a guaranteed offer. He wants a totally guaranteed contract the way that Deshaun Watson got. Are you going to give it to him? Probably not. So we're just going to sit back here, wait in the weeds, and let this thing play out. Now, how the Titans factor into this is a different matter because theoretically, they are one of 31 other NFL clubs that could put together a contract offer from Lamar Jackson that the Ravens can either match or accept and trade their franchise player, their former MVP. So the question that I want to ask you is this: on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch, how realistic of an option is Lamar Jackson for the Titans? Let's discuss on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. You can tell me what you feel is the most realistic option at this point, and I will tell you that your Two Rivers Ford take is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is where you go for all non-specialty new Ford vehicles sold below MSRP. A non-commissioned sales staff that doesn't put any pressure on you throughout the course of the car buying experience, and quality American-made Ford vehicles. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com. So, looking at the circumstance for the Titans, how realistic is it? Now, $32 million is what he is going to cost the Ravens if they keep him. If a team was to trade for Lamar Jackson, it would certainly be under the auspices that you're going to give him a long-term extension. Now, Lamar Jackson's long-term extension should probably come in the ballpark of $50 million a year. The Tennessee Titans are not well equipped from a financial standpoint to be able to accommodate that right now, but there is a scenario in which they can put together an offer that makes sense. Now, we'll talk about that here in just a second, but first, I want you to hear from Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, kind of diagnosing the situation with Lamar and the Ravens as it stands today.
It is in fact the non-exclusive tag for Lamar Jackson, $32 million, which I would say on one hand is interesting because it allows the Ravens to not pay over $40 million or so dollars for Lamar Jackson. On the other hand, this is essentially putting it out there to other teams. If you want him for the right price, then certainly you can have him. And I would say the fact that someone else could sign Lamar Jackson to an offer sheet, give him 2 first-round picks, and end up bringing Lamar Jackson onto their team really ramps up the intensity here. The Baltimore Ravens now officially tagging Lamar Jackson. But a lot of other teams are going to be looking at this and going, what is the right price on this one?
And that's literally $50 million a year question. What is the right price on Lamar Jackson? And can you get it fully guaranteed? Can you get him to accept the offer? Because that is what hangs in the balance, and not being able to do it with an agent has certainly complicated this thing. So how realistic is a Titans offer for Lamar? MB on YouTube says $0. If the Titans were lowballing A.J. Brown, how are they going to offer a fully guaranteed contract and build a new stadium? Now, that is a wrinkle that we have not previously factored in. What do we know about NFL contracts and guaranteed money? Well, one, we know that NFL contracts almost certainly are never fully guaranteed. Deshaun Watson and before him, Kirk Cousins are the only 2 players in recent memory, and I think Kirk Cousins was the first player ever to receive a fully guaranteed NFL contract at the time. This was 2017, 2016, when he got like a 3-year, $84 million deal, which, by the way, seems ridiculous to look back on now because you're talking about Aaron Rodgers making 60, Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson probably going to make 50. So then there's the idea of, all right, what do we know about the fully guaranteed money if you're going to hand it out? However you hand it out, whether it's a contract that's not structured as a fully guaranteed deal or a deal that comes fully guaranteed, as those two quarterbacks who I've mentioned previously are. Well, we know that the ownership group, the franchise, has to have that cash on hand. They have to have that in escrow. It has to be there, ready to go, to transfer to the players' financial accounts once the deal is signed. You have to have $250 million on hand if you're going to guarantee Deshaun Watson that money. Jimmy Haslam and the Browns did, so they gave it to him. Minnesota had $84 million on hand. They gave it to Kirk Cousins. That satisfied the deal. Derrick Henry, the guaranteed money on his contract. Ryan Tannehill, the guarantees with him. The Titans organization had to have those financials available to be able to make sure that they can execute the deal. It's why the Raiders had to trade away several years ago Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper. They didn't have the cash to be able to satisfy the guaranteed portions of the contracts, and so they moved the players for draft capital. Factored into all of this, where the Tennessee Titans are having to foot the bill, not primarily, but a good percentage of assets that they've just liquidated are going into this new stadium project. $700 million is what they had to liquidate in assets to chip in on to the pot on this thing. Asking them to liquidate $700 million in assets as not a cash flush organization in the NFL. They're not Stan Kroenke and the Rams with Walmart money. They're not the Walton Penner Group that owns the Broncos. Walmart now has 2 NFL franchises in the family. They are not, they're not even Shad Khan, right? The Jags have tons of money because of their other interests, both business-wise and around the world in professional sports. They are owners, the Khan family is, of an EPL franchise. They also own AEW Wrestling, which right now is very, very competitive with the WWE, courtesy of Tony Khan, Shad's son, who's been running point on that thing. The Tennessee Titans come from family money, family oil money, right? And oil money is nothing to be trifled with, but it's not Jerry Jones oil money. They're playing on 2 different planes, and the finances are difficult to accommodate when not only are you having to liquidate a ton of your assets to get in on the stadium, are you comfortable doing that for a quarterback like Lamar Jackson when, in addition to the money, unprecedented money, are you willing to guarantee it? And then furthermore, are you willing to give up 2 first-round draft picks to go and get him? Because that's what this all comes down to. So how realistic is it? Not very, but that's just kind of the nature of things right now. It's not terribly realistic for a lot of teams, by the way. Primetime is presented by our friends at Superbook Sports. Download the Superbook app today, and they'll match your first bet up to $1,000 on your first bet, win or lose. The best odds boosts and promo bets are always available to you at superbook.com. When you go to the Superbook app, it's clean, it's easy to use. There's a tab specifically for Tennessee teams for you to wager on your favorite local sports. So download the Superbook app, go to superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789. So, looking at the circumstances for realistic trade or realistic proposals for the Titans and Lamar Jackson. It's not realistic right now. By the way, Rick Bates points out the stadium vote is tonight. So we'll see. I think the final hurdle with Metro Council cleared theoretically if that deal is voted through. Bryce Erickson says poverty franchise. I don't think so. I mean, they're just not as rich as the Dallas Cowboys, the Los Angeles Rams, or the Minnesota Vikings, like organizations who have been around for a lot longer, who have more built-in fan bases, who have markets that support them at a greater rate, who have had longer histories of sustained success. I know that sounds kind of laughable to think about with the Cowboys. The Cowboys might be the anomaly there, but they're also the biggest brand in America's biggest sport. So, sometimes you can skirt the winning. But I think the Tennessee Titans winning despite their financial circumstances not being the best. It's a testament to the structure of the organization. But, at a certain extent, this is big game hunting. This is big money. This is big money sport. This is billionaires and their playthings. And, some billionaires have more billions than the other billionaires at this point. The Tennessee Titans ownership group is not one of the most cash flush organizations in football. And while that might not outright be the primary hindrance for Lamar, it certainly plays a factor in considering how to distribute their cash right now when they're already footing the bill for a new stadium plan that is going to require them to go slightly outside of what their conventional spending might look like. I mean, considerably outside what their conventional spending might look like. Either way, let's talk about the teams who have already reportedly ruled themselves out on Lamar Jackson and how bizarre that circumstance is. We will ask you this question on the Primetime Show. What do you make of NFL teams who are reportedly already out on a 25-year-old former MVP at the quarterback position? It's very bizarre to see teams reporting and confirming the news that they're out on Lamar Jackson. So what do you make of NFL teams reportedly ruling themselves out at this point? We'll talk about it together right after I remind you that True Math Fitness in the Gulch is your best way to get your fitness goals accomplished. I love their classes. They're about 40 minutes in length. They are boot camp style. No workout is ever recycled or repeated. Keeps your body reactive. Keeps you continuing to achieve and push yourself physically without overexerting, right? They're never going to put you in a bad spot. Some of these gyms can do that. They can take you outside, not just of your comfort zone, but what you may be physically capable of doing right now. That's not what True Math Fitness and their great coaching staff is going to do. They're going to work with you every step of the way. They're going to put you in positions to succeed so that you can achieve your workout goals in an efficient and effective and safe way. TrueMathFitness.com for your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. You can also check out any number of their great membership options for yourself at TrueMathFitness.com. So, what does it mean to you that several NFL teams have already declared themselves out on Lamar Jackson? I would like to invite resident Ravens fan, producer Robert Walsh, onto the screen because Robert has been living and dying on every news item that's been popped out there on Lamar Jackson. He told me yesterday that he was rewatching old Lamar Jackson games, lusting after what might no longer be the case for him at quarterback. So why don't you explain to the audience, Robert, what's your last, let's basically say what your last 2 years have been like around Lamar's contract situation and how you've been consuming the news as of late.
It's been a day, Buck. I don't know. When I went to bed last night, I was not expecting to feel as optimistic as I do now. But as you described, it has been a roller coaster the last 2 years because the Ravens have been pretty steadfast that, what is this? Are you a billboard now? You want to show the logo on that thing you're chugging? What is that?
No, because they don't advertise with us.
Oh, okay.
Water.
Good point. That could be your water. Anyway.
It is my water, but until they pay me money to officially say that it's my water, it remains, brandless boxed water in the interim.
The Ravens have been pretty steadfast saying Lamar is the guy. He's going to get paid. And the last few weeks has kind of showed us that it doesn't seem like it's for lack of trying on the Ravens side. It seems like Lamar is a little more rock steady in the approach he's taking, where he's not budging on what he's asking for in the contracts. Eric DaCosta went down to Miami to see him. I believe it was Sunday, gave him the Ravens' best offer that's on the table right now. He declined, and we got to where we are today with the non-exclusive tag. RG3 just tweeted something that I think is pretty interesting. As being he's a former Ravens player, now he's in the media. He tweeted, quote, team source.
Oh, Ravens. No, you're going to talk shit to me about my water and you can't even get the words out on the thing that's supposed to be your expertise, buddy.
It's late. Give me a break, buddy. Team source. Ravens hope negotiating with other teams will give them and Lamar an unbiased look at the market for him. Ravens aren't reluctant to give Lamar a top quarterback deal, but hope the non-exclusive franchise tag will speed up their own stalled negotiations with him. So the whole reason they did this was to see what his market was. Like, okay, every contract we've given to you, you've declined and said that, no, I'm going to hold on to this is my value. I think the Ravens wanted to see if the NFL would show them that that is, in fact, his value. And the way it looks right now, the Falcons, the Raiders, Carolina, Washington all came out and said that they would not be interested in Lamar pretty quickly. In
Yeah.
fact, like as soon as the tag came out, you were seeing tweets like Diana Rossini saying the Falcons wouldn't be interested, which is kind of odd to me. But I wonder if this is connected to some kind of owners versus NFL Players Association disagreement, where it's like the owners are saying, look, that Deshaun Watson contract is an outlier and it's not the norm in the NFL, and it's not going to be the norm if we, the owners, have anything to say about it.
Right, but and this is something that you and I discussed earlier on the phone, the idea that for the NFL ownership, that is, until it's made unconstitutional by league rules, like that's collusion. Now, it's damn near impossible to prove. You need receipts. You need a screw up like Bill Belichick accidentally texting the wrong Brian about a coaching job that they did not receive, and it resulting in a racially charged lawsuit that has Brian Flores accusing several NFL franchises of racial discrimination in their hiring practices. But you understand my point. Like, it's really, they can get away with it with relative ease. So they don't have to, they don't have to really put their names on it. But it's an interesting kind of like jockeying for position in the background as to where the real battle is, which is between the NFLPA and the NFL ownership about the nature of these guaranteed contracts.
It's a tough situation, no matter how you look at it. If you look at it from a player's side, like Lamar's definitely worth the guaranteed money that Deshaun Watson was paid. But I can also see it from a business standpoint that if we make this the norm, the salary cap is going to be thrown all out of whack. If you have to pay every top quarterback and any position, like, and the difference is in basketball where they do have fully guaranteed contracts, you got to pay maybe like 5 guys, 6 guys, big deals, and they play most of those games. The injuries and the hitting and stuff in football, I just don't see a situation where a fully guaranteed deal could be pliable for every team in the league. Like, we would have to have adaptations to the salary cap rules or the ways that we look at the contracts in contraction to the salary cap. It's a lot. So no matter how you look at it, it's tough. As a fan, I just want him to come home. Just come on back. Sign a deal. I'll come to games. I'll yell "Big Trust" again. It'll be great. Like, come
Big
on.
Trust, woo woo. What happened?
Big Trust.
We're so far removed from Tajay Sharp after the Titans kicked the Ravens' ass in the divisional round, walking to the podium at a post game with us and going "Big Trust, woo woo" at the podium before Derrick Henry walked in after taking Earl Thomas for a ride. It's just weird to me. Like, I'm going to hold this tweet up to the screen for the audience. I don't know if it's going to come through because stuff like that doesn't typically work well. But this is a report from the Atlanta Falcons official team writer that the Falcons are not going to pursue Lamar Jackson, citing Diana Rossini's report. When the hell do you ever see that? Teams confirming so NFL Insider's news on not pursuing a quarterback that could legitimately change their franchise. It's wild to me the way that the market has kind of borne itself out. And I think it is an assessment, probably the correct one by Baltimore, in saying, yeah, he's not worth what he thinks he is. And we're just going to have the rest of the NFL tell him that instead of us doing it the way that we have over the course of 2 years. So we appreciate producer Robert's insights and analysis on the Ravens. I know you're tired, buddy. Back to the shadows in the meantime.
I'll see you later. Have fun skiing or whatever the hell you're doing in Breckenridge.
Goodbye. See you, bud. Producer Robert there with us. Noted Ravens fan and current victim of the Lamar Jackson contract negotiations. All right, let's move on to a gone viral video on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. One thing we can count on is Robert making his TV appearance. Listen, Robert knows his shit. That's why we keep producer Robert around, and also because Robert and Lucas on the radio side of things, knowing their shit, makes me sound smarter, and I like to be smart. So we like to have smart people around me to make me seem smarter than I actually am, which is a guise that we've successfully pulled off for the better part of, hell, I'm going on the primetime show 4 years now. So the gone viral video, what's the worst dad joke that you've ever tried to pull off? It doesn't have to be successful. It doesn't mean that it's landed. What's the worst dad joke that you've pulled? Let me know in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. We'll discuss at length together. I'll tell you why we are asking you this question momentarily. But first, a reminder that the Primetime Show is presented by the people who have the intel edge. Gary Ashton's never made a bad dad joke in his life. He's never made a bad real estate deal in his life either, because Gary has the intel you need to succeed. The Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage is the best in the business. They are who got me my dream address without the stress nearly 4 years ago this coming June. Could not be happier. Could not be happier with the way that my property value has gone through the roof. Not just because Middle Tennessee is crazy like that, but because I had the intel edge on where to buy my home to maximize that investment almost 4 years ago. The Ashton team can do the same for you. It's why they're the official real estate team of the Preds, my radio show, and A to Z Sports Prime Time. Go to GaryAshton.com for that intel edge you need to succeed. So what's the worst dad joke you've tried to pull off? How do you get Pikachu on the bus, says Ethan Ramsey? You poke him on. That's terrible. It's so bad. The genesis for the dad joke question comes from the radio show today because while trying to do 3 hours of solo, but not really solo radio, oftentimes Lucas or Robert will drop what we call a dead fish in my lap. Now, what a dead fish means is something conversationally that just hits you in the face and brings whatever you're doing to a screeching halt. It happens to me with a fair amount of frequency. It's a wonder we get anything done on the radio show because of examples like what happened today. It's just that Derek Carr, one, was subpar, and there's some questions around the coaching.
Subcar. I couldn't not do it.
What am I going to do with that?
It entered my brain and then just came out.
How often? Yeah, but it's never that bad. Subcar?
Yeah, that was really bad. It was really bad. And I couldn't not do it. Like, I need you to understand that there's no way that I couldn't not say that.
Yeah, but it is. Just keep your mouth closed.
No, it had to be said. It had to be said.
No, it didn't. It didn't. In fact, it did not have to be said. Subcar did not need to be uttered at any point. Not just in the time span of this 3-hour radio show today, but at any point. Subcar is not a joke that needed to be made.
I had no choice.
It just brought the segment to a screeching halt. Go to break. Like, how the hell am I supposed to get anything done at that point? What rock group consists of 4 men but never sings, says Josh Lorette on Facebook Live. Mount Rushmore. These are so bad. Lamar Jeffries likes Subcar. Ethan Ramsey is laughing. So is Puka. She says very good. I think it's garbage. I understand where Lucas was mentally. It had to get out of his brain. Now, I think there are some moments where you look around and, you're in stream of consciousness, or maybe it's a lack of consciousness, right? Where something just, I see people. I see producer Robert cackling at some of the jokes being made. I'm scared now that I'm going to Ron Burgundy something wildly inappropriate. Either way, we have all been in word vomit mode before, right? Word vomit mode where you say something where it's on your brain and it just comes out of your mouth, whether, you need it to or not. It can put you in very perilous positions. As somebody who talks into a microphone on a regular basis as a means of making my living, I tend to avoid the dad jokes, but I do think that every once in a while I'll just spurt something out of my mouth that will have zero context, zero clues, or I just saw the punchline on the joke that I wasn't supposed to Ron Burgundy, and now I'm glad that I didn't Ron Burgundy it. Either way, I think that in terms of word vomit, it's happened to all of us. But like when he's saying to me that it needed to happen, of course it didn't need to happen. Just keep it inside, repress those things, and then deal with it at therapy after the fact. I mean, it's just that Derek Carr, one, was subpar, and there's some questions around the coaching.
Subcar. I couldn't not do it.
What am I going to do with that?
It entered my brain and then just came out.
How often? Yeah, but it's never that bad. Subcar.
Yeah, that was really bad. It was really bad. And I couldn't not do it. Like, I need you to understand that there's no way that I couldn't not say that.
Yeah, but it is. Just keep your mouth closed.
No, it had to be said. It had to be said.
No, it didn't. It didn't. In fact, it did not have to be said. Subcar did not need to be uttered at any point. Not just in the time span of this 3-hour radio show today, but at any point. Subcar is not a joke that needed to be made.
I had no choice.
It just brought the segment to a screeching halt. Go to break. It's a wonder I get through the day. But you know what? I've got vacation coming up, so I don't even care anymore. Lucas gave me an excuse to mail it in even harder than I was already mailing it in today. On the radio show. No, actually, I thought we did a rather good radio show today. But, I think we do a good show every day. I think we do a good primetime show every night. I think we do a good 615 sessions every week. I think everything I do is good, which is probably part of the narcissism that will be my untimely downfall at some point. But in the meantime, I love you guys for hanging out. This is our basically Friday. So no primetime on Wednesday or Thursday. Austin and Zach or who was it this morning? I think Zach and Sam. I saw Sam and Jack are doing a couple of things. So some variation of A to Z Sports in the morning will be there for you. Radio show for the rest of the week. I'm turning things over to the boys, Lucas and Robert, without adult supervision. So God knows what'll happen there, but it won't be my problem because I'll be on a plane to Breckenridge tomorrow, and I won't have to think about these things until I come back to whatever kind of mess. It's like leaving your pets at home alone for a weekend and then coming back to somebody having taken a dump on the rug. That's basically what I'm anticipating upon my arrival back to work on Monday. But either way, when I get back, it'll be free agency time, and we'll all snort that like the addicts that you are about football at this time of year. I love you guys. Have a spectacular weekend. Puka says it'll still have my name on it. Yes, and it will have my name on it as they run it into the ground and sully my, less than sterling reputation. I will see you guys on Sunday night next time for the Primetime Show.
Are you surprised to hear that?
Certainly not. The first year we took it to the limit. And I was in Miami with my new beach house. Well, it was a couple minutes from the beach.
It's been 20 years since then. We haven't been too strong in the last few years.
Oh, we've been strong. We're just playing by the rules. You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.